Attention passionate Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North, and it could truly change the game. We're talking about a move that might have a direct impact on Pittsburgh Steelers. Path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years to come. We're bringing this news to you firsthand, so listen closely, because this could be a game changer for the Steelers' future. But before we dive into all the details, if you're a true Steelers fan, make sure you subscribe to this channel. That way, you're strengthening this community, joining a family that's passionate about every play, every game, and every season. Let's work together to reach that 1,000-sub mark. Share this video with your friends, fellow Steelers fans, anyone who loves NFL action, because the more, the merrier. Now, let's get to the news that's got everyone talking. So the latest buzz in NFL circles is all about a potential trade that could shake up the AFC North quite significantly. Rumors are swirling that the Kansas City Chiefs, currently sitting at a 3-3 record and facing some challenges, might be willing to part ways with one of their key offensive weapons, Marquise Brown. Yes, that's right. The speedster from Oklahoma, who's proven himself as a dynamic playmaker, is reportedly on the move, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are apparently in the mix. The trade idea? Brown, who's set to be a free agent in 2026 for a fourth-round pick in the 2026 draft. Now, it's not just about a simple swap. It's about the implications this could have for both teams, especially for the Steelers, who desperately needed a boost in their wide receiver core, especially after losing Austin to injury. Brown's profile is pretty impressive. He's been recognized as one of the top 60 players by PFF for 2025, and he made the Pro Bowl in 2023, so this isn't just a flash in the pan. The guy's speed is proven, with a blazing 4.29-second dash, making him a nightmare for defenses in the red zone and on deep routes. Over his career, he's accumulated around 800 receiving yards and 28 touchdowns, averaging 13. 5 yards per reception, which shows just how explosive he can be when used correctly. His yards after catch average is also noteworthy, sitting at around 6.5 yards, meaning he's not just fast. He's also elusive and capable of turning short plays into big gains. In 2025, he's already put up 25 receptions for 302 yards and 3 touchdowns, with an average of over 12 yards per catch. His stats reflect a player who can stretch the field and create mismatches, especially in the red zone, where his speed and route running make him a prime target. Of course, injuries have been part of his story, with an ankle injury in Week 2 of 2025 costing him 2 games. But when healthy, Brown has shown he can be a dominant force, reminiscent of DK Metcalf's impact with the Seahawks in 2025, especially when you consider his 4.29 dash and explosive playmaking ability. Now, why would the Chiefs consider this move? Well, it's about more than just acquiring a talented receiver. The Chiefs are navigating a season where their offensive line has been quite vulnerable, allowing an average of 3-1 sacks per game, which puts pressure on their quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, and the entire offense. Despite the team's 3-3 record, there's a sense that they're in a bit of a rebuild phase, especially with the extension talks around Travis Kelce and the search for a long-term quarterback solution. Moving Brown could be part of a strategic effort to free up cap space, reportedly around $9 million, and secure future draft picks, including that fourth-rounder in 2026, to build for the future, perhaps even to pursue a new quarterback or bolster other areas of the roster. But what does this mean for the Steelers? Well, adding a player like Brown would be a massive boost, especially in the red zone, where his speed and agility could elevate their scoring percentage significantly. Currently, Pittsburgh's passing game has been solid, but the addition of Brown could push their offensive efficiency even higher, especially considering the projected yards and the increased success rate in scoring touchdowns. He would help take some pressure off George Pickens, who's been a key target, and complement the likes of Deontay Johnson. His presence alone could lift the entire offense, giving quarterback Kenny Pickett, or even a future QB, a reliable weapon who can stretch the field and turn short plays into explosive gains. From a statistical perspective, Brown's contribution could mean an increase of over 0 yards in total receiving yards for the Steelers. That's a huge figure, and it's not just about raw numbers. It's about the impact on the team's overall EPA, expected points added, per pass, which currently sits at a solid but improvable level. With Brown in the lineup, that number could see a boost of around 14%, which would significantly improve their offensive efficiency. His red zone touchdown rate, which currently hovers around 55%, could climb even higher, making the Steelers a more formidable threat in clutch situations. And it's not just about the offense. His presence could open up more running lanes for Warren, who's been gaining yards at an impressive clip, averaging nearly 4.9 yards per carry. Now let's talk about the bigger picture. If this trade happens, it could have ripple effects across the AFC North and even the entire conference. The Steelers, traditionally known for their strong defense and resilient running game, have been looking to evolve into a more explosive offensive team. The addition of Brown aligns perfectly with that goal. It's a move that could propel them into playoff contention and even increase their Super Bowl odds, which currently sit around +8-0, but could shorten significantly if they acquire such a dynamic weapon. Meanwhile, the Chiefs, on the other hand, are facing a different reality. Their season has been marked by some struggles, especially on offense, with the offensive line giving up too many sacks and their cap space dwindling after extensions for key players like Kels. The trade for Brown could be a strategic move to get draft capital and cap flexibility, especially if they're considering a rebuild or at least a reshaping of their roster for the future. Their current Super Bowl odds, which have been as high as +500, might be affected by their ability to keep their core intact and bring in new talent, possibly in the draft or via trades. And when we consider the AFC as a whole, this potential move underscores how competitive and unpredictable the conference remains. The Steelers, with their rich history of success and a roster that's been steadily improving, could use this kind of boost to climb higher in the standings. They've been building a solid foundation, especially on defense, but adding a playmaker like Brown could be the final piece to truly push them over the top. Remember, the Steelers have always been about resilience, and with a player of Brown's caliber, they could become even more dangerous, especially in the red zone where every point counts. Looking ahead, the Steelers' future looks promising if this trade comes to fruition. Their legacy is built on strong defense, smart drafting, and finding ways to win tight games. With Brown's speed and explosive potential, they could turn the tide, increase their scoring rate, and become a team feared by opponents. Plus, his addition would send a message to the rest of the league that the Steelers are still in the hunt, still aggressive, and willing to make bold moves to chase another Super Bowl title. As for the Chiefs, this move, if it happens, might be part of a broader strategy to rebuild their roster, create cap space, and prepare for the future beyond Mahomes. They're a team that has been dominant in recent years, but with some tough decisions and adjustments, they could be setting themselves up for sustained success or a shift in their team-building philosophy. The NFL is always evolving, and trades like these are part of that dynamic, especially when teams realize they need to shake things up to stay competitive. So, fans of the Steelers, I want you to imagine what this could mean. A dynamic speedster receiver in Pittsburgh's offense, creating mismatches, stretching defenses, and elevating the entire team's performance. Think about the possibilities: Warren gaining more ground, Pickens and Johnson having more space to operate, and Kenny Pickett finally having that deep threat that defenses have to respect. That's the kind of addition that could push the Steelers from good to great, from playoff contenders to Super Bowl favorites. And let's be honest, with Brown's track record, that's not just speculation, it's a real possibility. And of course, the NFL landscape is always shifting, always full of surprises. This potential trade is just one example of how teams are constantly looking to improve, to adapt, and to find that extra edge. The AFC North, in particular, is becoming more competitive each year, with teams like Cincinnati, Baltimore, and now, potentially, the Steelers making bold moves. It's an exciting time for fans who love the game, and especially for us Steelers supporters, who know that every move, every draft pick, and every trade could be the difference between a season remembered and one that slips away. So in conclusion, whether or not this trade for Marquise Brown materializes, it's clear that the Steelers are positioning themselves for a strong push. They've got a talented core, a solid defense, and now possibly a game-changing receiver who can make a real difference on the field. This move could be the spark they need to elevate their offense, improve their chances in the playoffs, and maybe even bring that elusive 7th Super Bowl trophy back to Pittsburgh. The NFL is always full of surprises, and this story is just starting to unfold. Stay tuned, stay engaged, and keep supporting your team because, as Steelers fans, we know the importance of resilience and bold moves in the quest for greatness. And now, Pittsburgh Steelers fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to US and TO, the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Pittsburgh Steelers news.